focus, determination, passion, stamina, and the will to win. The end result, the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Extreme Motorsports brings you the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, brought to you by Ricmotech High Performance Sim Racing Equipment, and in part by TD's Tree Service. Live coverage Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Australia. Welcome to the Phillip Island circuit, where a certain Nicky Hayden, in his first season of MotoGP competition, got his first podium in the series. And it's really a shame to open with the news today that we heard of his passing, but hopefully we get a good race to honour him by here in round 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, brought to you in part by TD's Tree Service. TD's Tree Service, I should say. Dear me. Adam Bath here today, along with iRacing World Championship driver Alex Simpson. And Alex, Phillip Island, good track for the bikes and equally a good track for the cars here. So we should see a good hour race today.
Yeah, of course, circuit really suits the bikes well. But I've raced here plenty of times in the all sorts of cars, from open wheelers to tin tops, and I've had some absolutely fantastic race meetings, so I think we'll see a good one here. Fairly short circuit. It's pretty there's probably 3 or 4 key corners that you've got to get right, and those are the ones where you're going to make or lose time. So I expect the pack and the field qualifying to be really close, and I think this race is really going to come down to strategy.
Do we have a track guide for this one?
We do
Alex?
indeed. We do indeed, and let's throw it straight to that as the qualifying is about done. We'll come back and give the guys the grid.
Welcome everyone to Phillip Island, located here in beautiful Victoria, Australia. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today in the Ford Mustang around this 2.76 mile road course, a road course that was once 6.5 miles in length. That's right, 1928 was the inaugural running of the 100 miles road race that saw Arthur Waite drive to victory in his Austin 7. Today, Phillip Island plays host to events like the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix as well as the V8 Supercar Series. Well, let's begin our track guide around this 2 3/4 mile road course that winds along the beautiful coastline of Phillip Island. As we head up the front straight known as Gardner Straight, crossing the start-finish line, we head under the walkway. Coming down into turn 1 here, drivers will be approaching this corner at a pretty high rate of speed in 5th gear, upwards of 140 miles an hour. They'll get down into 4th for entry, get right back to throttle for this fast exit, and get over to the right for the big entry of Southern Loop, turn 2 on the course. Very late apex corner, known to some drivers as the corner that never ends. Get a nice view of that beautiful ocean out there to the right. Another fast section here as we come down the hill into Stoner Corner. Turn 3. Coming up into Honda Corner, turn 4 on the track. Another late apexing corner. Got to get that nose down to the bottom on exit. Easy on the throttle coming off that corner. Out of 5 here, into 6, known as Siberia. Another late apex corner, very fast flowing section of the track. This brings us into turn 7. The fast S's coming up here into turn 8. This leads us into turn 9. Lukey Heights, very exciting corner, uphill left. Becomes kind of blind coming up over the crest, got to modulate that throttle. Over the crest, down into turn 10. Second gear, hard right-hander. Let the car roll off that exit, back to the floor, up into third gear, through turn 11. Good quick exit here that takes us to the fastest corner on the track, and to me, one of the most exciting corners, turn 12. This leads us right back out onto Gardner Straight. Drivers will be wide open through that whole section to get that speed up onto the front straightaway in hopes of overtaking the driver in front of them. As we cross the start-finish line, that wraps up our track guide for you here at Phillip Island. Thank you for being with us.
And a handy guide there of how to negotiate this 4.44 kilometre circuit here at Phillip Island in Australia, 12 corners. And we are just about to get underway for the pace lap here, where we'll be about to get the 1 hour race, round 3 of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series underway. We're running through the championship standings then as we go into this third race meeting of the season. Pretty close to the top, Mikey Grem's leading Pasi Iannucci in second, joint second in fact, with Tyler Schiffler in third. Then Mike Dam in 4th, Jeff Jacobs 5th, David Jakes in 6th, then Stephen Thomas 7th, Brandon Whitworth 8th, Lauren Bateman in 9th, and TD Travis Davis rounding out the top 10, joint 10th with Matthew Katila. Into the open category in the Ford Mustangs, a good time if your name's Mike. Joint top is Mike Griffith and Mike Ruddock, and then Mike Monaghan in 3rd, 4 points behind them. Scott Brooks in 4th with Mike Burgett in 5th. 6th is Raphael Motta with Alex Marshall 7th, and then Robert Brist in 8th with Scott Kennedy 9th and Ryan Tibbetts in 10th. However, Tibbetts is on 0 points. Then into the MX5s, John Allen leading Rob Hartley by 3 points. Then Ash Beard, who was racing in the MX5s at Imola on Sunday night, in 3rd. David Payton in 4th, Tom Rathjay in 5th, and then Andre Saunders 6th with Brian Holmes 7th, Tyler McFarlane 8th, and Travis Fenke in 9th. And into the open category for the Mustang, for the MX5s, it's Richard Losper leading the way there with Kip Stevens 2nd. So the Winter Series champion of the BSRs in the Mazda MX-5s doing well there. Then 1 point behind him is David Fitzgerald, and then the point behind him is Edgar Sancinelli. Chris Dorman 5th, Dan Carrido in 6th, Mike Key 7th, Mike Taylor 8th, and Geordie Fike is in 9th position. Onto the grid then for the opening for the 1 hour race, I should say. Mikey Grems is on the pole, so the GS Pro leader on the pole there with Russell Ruddock 2nd, 3rd Mike Dam, 4th Pasquale Iannucci, 5th for Stephen Thomas, 6th Dave Jakes, 7th Kevin Ford, 8th Tyler Schiffler, 3rd in the championship, starting down there nearly outside the top 10. Jeff Jacobs 9th and Lauren Bateman rounding out the top 10. And then 11th Michael Burgett, 12th is Clint Vigus, 13th Brandon Whitworth, 14th Travis Davis, 15th for Scott Kennedy, 16th Leon Wright, 17th Matthew Katila, then it's 18th for Scott Brooks, Michael Ruddock in 19th, and 20th for Michael Monaghan, Raymond Badia Jr. rounding out the Mustangs. Then into the MX-5s, it's Brian Holmes on pole, Rob Hartley 2nd, 2 teammates there, then Travis Fenke in 3rd, Ash Beard in 4th, 5th Andre Saunders, 6th John Allen, 7th Tom Rathjay, 8th is Richard Losper with 9th David Payton, and 10th Tyler McFarlane. Dan Carrido in 11th, 12th for Dave Fitzgerald, 13th for Mike Taylor, 14th Chris Torman, 15th for Michael Key, 16th Edgar Sancinelli, and starting at the back in 17th position, it's going to be Kip Stevens as we're halfway around the formation lap now, Alex.
Yep, well done, mate. Take a breath, grab a drink, because job well done there. But yeah, looking forward to this race. As where are we right now? Yeah, like I say, about halfway through the lap. What a great view as well, this circuit, right on the coast, of course, being an island. Funny, that one. But yeah, you can see some amazing shots. I imagine watching some racing around here would be amazing. The bikes, all the V8 supercars. Yeah, get a few beers out there, but you get a tan pretty easily as well.
On the Apex bucket list, I'm sure.
One to do, yeah, definitely.
Of course, if you head south from here, you hit Tasmania, and if you carry on going south from there, you hit Antarctica. So that is what it's like here at the moment in Australia. the state of Victoria, not too far away from the Albert Park circuit as well. We're about to get the race underway. Round 3 of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. We started off the season at Daytona, then went to Sebring last week. Both great races are there. And now we're going to get round 3 underway. What we're going to have in store this time as we head from the state of Florida to Australia. Mikey Graham's on the pole, the man from New York. Second, Russell Ruddock from Texas. Who's going to get the lead into the first corner here? It's a pretty quick first corner as well. So watch out for possibly a little bit of chaos. Safety car is into the pit lane. Green flag is in the air. Round 3 of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series at Phillip Island is underway.
Yeah, good start from everybody. The field really bunches up as they go in towards turn 1. Mikey Graham's coming under a little bit of pressure. Just make sure everyone gets through this first sweeping right-hander nice and safe. It looks like they do. Mikey have got the inside line for turn 2. That should see him hold on to that position. But yeah, good start from everybody actually there. No argy-bargy or anything like that, and we're all away. How are the MX-5s doing? Here they come.
Over the line then, Brian Holmes leading his teammates Rob Hartley away there. And watch out for Travis Fenke in third, and also a good starting number 72 car there. That is Andre Saunders going into the first corner. Like relatively safe for them, and of course you can expect them to stick together because that is the trait of the Mazda MX-5s racing here.
Yeah, and of course of this circuit as well. It's very difficult to break away this circuit. Just the nature of it, just those few corners that really challenge the drivers. So one that always sees the grid very, very close together. So I touched on earlier on. And Saunders, we obviously hadn't seen him, but we were apprised that during the break that he was very much a returning face, and he's been very, very quick before in the past, and won some championships, and yeah, he's gonna look to try and repeat that. So yeah, we're even more interested to see how he gets on. Had a bit of unfortunate luck, didn't he, at Sebring?
Indeed he did. Very unfortunate for Saunders there. He'll be hoping for better things here at Phillip Island today. Leaders coming around to complete the opening lap there. Mikey Graham's leading Russell Ruddock by 4 tenths. They are as they were from the start of the race. Pasquale Iannucci up to 3rd position, and who currently lies 2nd in the championship, just leading Mike Dam, who definitely hasn't had the best start to the season, Alex. He's had opportunities to get wins, but currently lies 4th here as we go into round 3.
Yeah, I think that disconnect really at Daytona just set him back a little bit, but the fact that he's in 4th already tells me that he's going to be there at the end of the season, no doubt. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. But yep, the field just sort of separating itself out a little bit right now, tucked up in the slipstream for everybody, but the gap's still very, very close as we would expect, sort of halfway through lap 2.
Going through Siberia, this long left-hand hairpin. Lots of great corners here on this Phillip Island circuit. Those are good overtaking opportunities as well. That run through the very fast left-hander at Stoner Bend, and then into the Honda hairpin, and also through this run here, which the leader's going through now, the Hayshed, now up to Lukey Heights, and then the MG hairpin. Really a hairpin where you can really spring as a surprise on the driver in front, Alex, if you get the braking right.
Yeah, it does tend to be a surprise as well. Certainly the optimal line is as far over to the left as you come across the crest, but some drivers will just drag a little bit more speed through there and draw up alongside and just do that late move surprise overtake there. So we'll keep an eye out for that maybe towards the end of the race. It looks like the guys are all being fairly sensible out there at the moment. We saw probably Sebring was probably one of the races we've seen the most amount of incidents. So yeah, I'm not surprised that the drivers just seem a little bit cagey right now as Ruddock goes just a little bit wide through turn 1, kicks up some dust in Iannucci's face, but yeah, nothing more than that. Although just a poor exit there, and Iannucci maybe will get the run down into the hairpin.
It's all about momentum here, and that was not the momentum that Russell Ruddock wanted at all. And Pasquale Iannucci is going to try and go around the outside here into the Honda hairpin. That might not work because the inside line is so favourable here. Now he needs to watch out because Mike Dunn might fancy his chances going into the Siberia hairpin here, this long left-hander. No changes though. Pasquale Iannucci attempted that.
We are. We're gonna. I'm afraid we just have lost connection just for a split second there, so we will have to reload into the sim. So just keep us going, Adam, if you don't
Okay.
mind, and
Do a bit of
yeah,
radio.
yeah, do a bit of radio while we do that. Unfortunately, internet racing is worst, and yeah, these little things can happen. But let me get reset, as I'm sure I've been kicked from the session. So do apologise for this, everybody who's watching.
Mike Dammer's just got third position, just going through the Hayshed part of the lap on their way to the Lukey Heights long left-hander. He's just got himself back into where he started, third position, putting Russell Ruddock down to fourth position now. The man who started on the front row of the grid, Russell Ruddock from Texas, has now got Stephen Thomas for company in fifth. Thomas also started in fifth position as well. Then David Jakes behind, and then Kevin Ford seventh. Clint Vigus, we might have seen the overtake before we lost the stream momentarily, but he's just pushed on and up into eighth position. That's 4 positions gained now for Vigus, who usually has the poor qualifying, but gets going in the race, and he's definitely going at the moment. One of the biggest movers in the field, really. As Tyler Shiflett loses a position to Jeff Jacobs. Jacobs now through into ninth. Tyler Shiflett losing another position, and that very familiar Mustang, Alex, of Lauren Bateman. He's just lining the Mustang up now as we go through Stoner Bend, named after another Honda MotoGP World Champion, Casey Stoner, and up the inside he goes into the Honda hairpin, and that should be another position as Tyler Shiflett loses 2 positions in the space of half a lap.
Well, we'll be hopefully we will be back very, very soon. Just loading back in right now, so as soon as I can get the pictures to people, I will do.
They're still going at it on the exit of Siberia. They are wheel to wheel going through the Hayshed, and finally Tyler Shiflett is able to just keep himself ahead of Lauren Bateman. Going into Lukey Heights though now, starting to bunch up. They've got the cross time today, and it's Brian Holmes now leading the way. Rob Hartley was leading a lap ago, but it looks like his teammate has taken back control here. UK and Ireland driver Brian Holmes, so he is suffering with the time here. It is just coming up to 20 past 2 in the morning here in the UK, but that's not impeding him at all, and he's leading his teammate, the man from Carolina, Rob Hartley, around as they go into MG, Alex.
Yeah, it looks like a good start. I mean, just before I got kicked from the server, it looked like Rob Hartley was leading as well, so those guys obviously having a lot of fun right now, exchanging position amongst themselves. But yeah, they're not really able to break away from the pack. That whole pack we've got there, the top sort of 9 in that class, all sort of nose to tail at the moment. So yeah, it can be very difficult for them as they go too wide down the main straight.
And that is well executed. Rob Hartley returns to the lead. Way to tell the difference between them is that Rob Hartley has the yellow roll cage, Brian Holmes has the blue one. We'll try and remind you of that as the racing continues. And Ash Beard, their teammate, has got the red roll cage as well. Another UK and Ireland driver there in the top 9, as Alex was pointing out, separated by just 3.5 seconds. So hopefully we get to see this after the pit stops, which will be coming up in the not too distant future. Andre Saunders going past Ash Beard, as Alex was saying earlier as well. And Andre Saunders, very experienced driver. Last race, missed season 7, the last season we were covering here on Apex Racing TV, but is a veteran in the Mazda, and we'll be hoping to put one over the BSR MX5 Cup champion of last season, Ash Beard.
So yeah, while I was obviously disconnected, Michael Grims as well pulled away 3-second lead at the front. That must have been all that battling that was going on that you were commentating on there, Adam. So yeah, quite a gap, and Iannucci and Mike Dam and they'll need to pull their finger out if they're going to close that gap down.
Battle in the 4 Mustangs, in fact, between David Jakes and Kevin Ford as they go through turn 3 here. Outside there, but it surely will be in favour of David Jakes, who is the inside line for the Honda hairpin. You can see how late they break, and possibility of T-bone situations there as off goes Kevin Ford, and he spins the Mustang, and he's going to have to wait for quite a few cars to get by there, Alex.
Yeah, indeed. Not sure what he's doing there. Go the other way if you need to. Get that car spun around.
Only he's not trying the Alex Malensky reverse tactically, obviously.
Well, no, this is very true. Because, yeah, we would have come down on him just as hard as we did Alex.
Well, he gets
But
going.
costly mistake. I mean, it puts him right at the back of the Mustang field now. So still got a long time to go in the race, so he can work his way back up there. But yeah, definitely not the race he would have wanted.
We'll definitely track his progress as the race continues. 48 minutes to go here, 12 minutes into round 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, brought to you in part by TD's Tree Service. Make sure you head over to ricmotech.com for your latest equipment. Tell you what, Kevin Ford's about to pick off one position straight away, just getting past Raymond Bader Jr. So looks like Bader Jr. is in a bit of issues really, the Californian. So an easy position there for Kevin Ford. He's now up to 21st position. Every position at a time for Kevin Ford.
Great little shot there as everybody's coming sort of through turn 2, turn 1. You've got the cars in the background as well. So this field really spread apart now with the multi-class out there. So, but we're just on board with Mike Dam. He was having luckily got a reasonable run on Iannucci there, but doesn't make any moves. Just sat there at the moment. So. These guys still dropping back from Mikey Grems as well. So Mikey at 141, 613 that last lap on 142 dead for these two. So another 0.4 of a second loss. So if Mike Dam's got anything for Mikey Grems, then he's going to need to get past here. I think sooner rather than later, because this gap is just slowly building.
Well, it looks like I might have cursed Travis Davis by mentioning his company, because he is out of the race. That is a blown engine. And yeah, that is game over for TD. I don't know what happened to cause the blown engine. Just watching him going through.
Just doing a replay now. His better half was just wishing him luck.
Blown engine on the downshift into Siberia?
Downshifting into Siberia, wasn't it? So, poor TD. He's not having the greatest of seasons as well, is he? So, well, that's that for him. One engine is cooked.
The V8 crying enough. We definitely don't have an issue with altitude around here because we are literally by the sea. So that definitely would have been an issue there. It was the downshift that caused the issue for Travis Davis. And after being away for the last few race meetings in Season 7, is a fight back here in Season 8 not going too well at all. Was that Iannucci going wide, Alex, that you were looking at there? Or
well,
was that Mike
him and Dams actually, but yeah, Dam way wide, and lost a fair bit of time there as they're starting to come through the MX-5 now as well. Also, Ruddock got a little bit closer to Mike Dam with that. Oh, he's bringing along Stephen Thomas with him as well.
Clint Vargas continues his march up the field. That's now 6 positions gained. His latest victim is David Jakes, who he performed an overtake on into the Honda hairpin. And Clint Vargas, the man from Michigan, now up into 6th position. 6 positions gained, and next for him on his list is the aforementioned Stephen Thomas. So Vargas, the top 5 is only 1 spot away.
Yeah, good to see Clint have a good race as well. Another driver who's not had the best of seasons, of course, was fighting all the way to the very final round, almost the final lap last season, trying to get it on. But yeah, just it wasn't to be, was it? I think he had that accident, didn't he, at Road Atlanta about halfway through, but he didn't want to give up. He wanted to see if there was an opportunity. But yeah, great competitor last season. So. But yeah, he's going to have to pull some results from somewhere if he's going to get back in this championship fight. And what's going on with Mike Dam right now, Adam? He's dropping down my timing screen.
He has disappeared, and I fear we might Daytona might have reared its ugly head here, because yeah, he is definitely not crossed the line. And the Canadian, well, yeah, it looks like he might be done for the day, and I'm expecting a receive throughput similar to the one you might have received, Alex, a few moments ago, to show up on the screen any moment.
It's not the servers playing funny buggers as well, because obviously I lost connection to TeamSpeak on both of my PCs, so mine was just a local connection problem. So just a bit unfortunate. Yeah, Mike suffering the same problems I am.
Well, he was running in third and was chasing down Pasquale Iannucci. But now he's going to be chasing the ISP to try and get back up and running here, and maybe salvage a a finish. Of course, no one has, apart from Travis Davis, no one has retired yet in this race. Street's Nice, the only one that hasn't taken the start. And there you go, received throughput for Mike Dam. Kicked out the server. Never a pleasant sight. I've had it happen to me before, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so frustrating, isn't it? It's our equivalent to a, you know, like an engine blow up or some kind of mechanical failure. But yeah, there's obviously things we can do about it. But you know, I pay for a pretty good internet provider here above the odds and things like that to try and ensure that things are nice and smooth. But you just, you know, these things happen, just like tonight. You know, for Mike and for myself. So. But yeah, definitely is frustrating when it does, and twice in one season is not what he wants. But of course, Mikey Grams, he'll be happy with that. What he won't be happy with is the fact that his lead is back down to 1.6 seconds, as Iannucci is carving through the traffic a lot quicker than what Mikey is right now.
Well, yeah, 142, 126 last time around for Pasquale Iannucci, 144, 102, so 2 seconds quicker. Pasquale Iannucci on that last lap than Mikey Grems. Iannucci just getting up the inside of the Pro Sim car there. That is Kip Stevens, familiar sight there to the viewers of the BSR Mazda MX-5 Cup. And yeah, Iannucci, the gap is now 2 seconds. Definitely looks like that Mikey Grems will have encountered a big bit of MX-5 traffic on that previous lap, as Dan Carrido is the next Mazda in front of him.
Kip started from the back, of course. He's worked his way up. On my screen he's showing us up 7 places, so good race so far for him, of course, and featuring well. Kip, always one of those drivers who just gets himself out of trouble and makes sure he finishes, and that's why he's always there at the end of the season fighting for a good place in the championship. And there's a whole lot of battling going on behind him right now, as the leaders are trying to work their way through some of the traffic, I believe.
Well, he's not a 2-time BSR TC champion for nothing, and most recently a BSR Winter Series champion. Kip Stevens, second in the GS Open, no, the GST Open category, I should say. Definitely putting on a good show here. So are the leaders in the Mazda MX-5s. Travis Schwenke has just taken the lead away from Rob Hartley at the start of this lap. And it looks like Rob Hartley doesn't want to stay in second place for too much longer, having a little look to the inside going into the Honda hairpin. For the time being, the man from Ohio is leading the man from Carolina here as we are on lap 11. Tell you what, Alex, these Mustangs are going to have a tough job negotiating their way through these MX-5s when they eventually get to them.
You're right, that's a big old pack, isn't it, there? We're still looking at what? Still looking at 9 cars there in that train, so yeah, that'll split the pack up a little bit maybe as well, so the MX-5s will be a little bit disappointed with that, and try and work it in such a way that they don't lose any time at all.
Well, Mike Dam is back on the track. He is in 21st position. Don't think actually he even fell a lap behind. I might be wrong. I think he actually has fallen a lap behind, but indeed he has. But yeah, that's still a good job from him. He will still be able to finish hopefully above some of the Mazda MX-5, so that'll be some points for him. But at the moment he's about to negotiate this pretty chaotic Mazda MX-5 traffic made up of 8 cars separated, 9 cars. In fact, yeah, 9 cars separated by 5 seconds as Rob Hartley lines up Travis Schwenke as we come over the line. Hartley returning to the lead in the Mazda MX-5 category, should be able to swing in front. Not close enough for Brian Holmes to get by, but yeah, his teammates. Rob Hartley reassumes the lead here on lap 12.
They're just having fun out there at the moment, aren't they? All just interchanging the lead position amongst themselves at the front, just holding on to it, and yeah, why not?
Here comes Mike Dam negotiating them all. He's going around the outside, a bit understeery there. I thought he was going to end up going onto the gravel, but he's going to really crash the party here. Pick on someone your own size, I'm sure they're saying. As we might need to have a look at the battle between Lauren Bateman and Jeff Jacobs. Those two have just exchanged positions going through the opening series of corners. Might have been Jacobs getting caught out by the TMX5 that they've just lapped, but they're now going to go wheel to wheel through the long left-hander at Stoner corner and then up to the MG hairpin. Also just in front of them, Vigas has got past Stephen Thomas. Incredible first stint of the race from Clint Vigas. That is his 8th position gained, and contact between Bateman and Jacobs, Alex.
Yeah, they both survived. Just
about, yeah.
just a little friendly nudge there. Just to like, well, here I am, and no, you're not getting on the outside of me to get the inside through Siberia. So that finishes that one off. So, but yeah, Jacobs drops back to about second behind, so he'll close that gap back up. Looks like he's the slightly quicker driver out there, I have to say. And yeah, they'll go at it again.
Well, Jeff Jacobs will be asking, or Lauren Bateman, I should say, which should be asking Jeff Jacobs for the Gulf Racing paint, because he's definitely done the paint work a little bit of damage there. But nothing more than that, it looks like. And yeah, Bateman up 3 positions now, but Clint Vigus, yeah, just before that contact happened, we were just mentioning he was up into 4th position now, Alex, and the podium is in sight. He's got the Texan Russell Ruddock now in front of him, putting in some pretty good laps here. Clint Vigus 42.3 on the last lap, 42.5 again, lapping quicker than Russell Ruddock in front of him, and yeah, he could be up in the 3rd position in the next few laps.
Yeah, I was about to say, apart from Iannucci, was the fastest person on the circuit for the last 2 laps, so he's looking good right now for a really strong result. I don't want to commentate curse him too much, but yeah, great drive through so far. He's doing these sort of lap times without the clear air as well, so maybe yeah, when he can get released a little bit more, he might be able to close in on Iannucci as well.
I'm sure Rasmussen will forgive you in time, Alex. I'm sure Ashley Blake Hood will forgive me eventually as well, after giving him the curse of the decade in the BSR Porsche Cup at Laguna Seca last week. Vigus closing up straight away into Siberia. Ruddock's lap time last time around was a 42.6. His personal best is a 41.8, so you can see the lap time starting to drift off as we get close to the first round of pit stops, which in this series the drivers do like to take their tyre changes. Now going through Lukey Heights and on their way to the MG hairpin. Clint Vigus much closer than he was a lap ago. Might be able to pick up a little bit of slipstream. It's not too effective in these Ford Mustangs, but it's getting a bit of a slide on there as he goes through the exit of one of the slowest corners on the circuit.
Yeah, got himself all out of shape. Unfortunately, just missed the apex of MG there, and yeah, needed to get the car back over to the right as quickly as possible to take the speed through the final corner. So didn't get that quite right. So I think he's going to have an opportunity for a pass this time, but certainly he'll close back up in the draft down that straight. It is quite a long section where we're at high speed, so it does make a big difference. And about 0.3 of a second he closed up there, so yeah, good exit off of MG, stay within that 3/4, and you've got a chance to get the overtake done if you turn one.
Lap 15 of round 3 of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. 35 minutes to go here, not too far away from seeing the mandatory pit stops from the Mazda MX-5s and the Ford Mustangs. Mikey Grahams leads Pasquale Iannucci by 1.5 seconds. Then it's Russell Ruddock trying to hold on to his podium position ahead of Clint Vigus. Vigus having a little look at the inside into the Honda hairpin and goes back over to the racing line, and you can see Stephen Thomas taking a different line as well as they go through the hairpin. Rafael Motta has towed back to the pits, the Brazilian not having a good race there and stopping out on track, having to retire back to the pits. I'll be happy with that. 5th is Stephen Thomas, 6th is David Jakes, then 7th Lauren Bateman, 8th Jeff Jacobs, 9th Tyler Shiflett, and Brandon Whitworth rounding out the top 10. Just going to quickly see what happened to Mr. Motta, Alex. Oh dear, that's not gone at all well. We can get a replay of that. Big off as well for the Brazilian, and backwards into the tyre wall. We'll be filling out the whiplash forms after that one.
If we can see this. Some cars in the pit lane actually, worth pointing out when looking at this replay. But yeah, it's pretty, down the main straight, yeah, just it was very, very close, wasn't it? And then, like you say, just got sent spinning, and yeah, into the tyre wall. That is the race done.
Clint Vigus into the pits, so the comeback is off for now. Maybe started on a lighter fuel load. That is F1 strategy talk from a few years ago. Definitely there, but yeah, he's taking the opportunity now. Going to change those tyres as well. Clint Vigus going for a longer second stint, Alex, here to try and get some more positions.
Yeah, it could be that, or he could just have decided to pop himself into the pits early to try and get out of the traffic. Maybe he feels like he's quicker and he's being held up, so couldn't quite get past. So going to do it with an early stop, fresh tyres, get the undercut, and away he goes. Yeah, 18.5 second stop, so not that slow. You know, we normally see around about 20 to 23 seconds, don't we, as well? So if he was light on fuel, he hasn't put an awful lot in. So I think he'll be okay. Clint's normally one that nails the pit stop strategy, so yeah, let's see what he's got up his sleeve for this one.
18.4 seconds in a bid to try and leapfrog Russell Ruddock and get himself onto the podium. Currently 12th in the championship standings, Clint Vigus going into this race meeting, highlighting how his championship hasn't gone to plan so far this season. We're expecting more drivers to come in a not too distant future. Mikey Grems is just going through now, and he's coming in. So our leader into the pits, Iannucci staying out. Bit of a hard pit lane to get right here, grass all over the place, so if you do get it wrong, and it's a pretty narrow slip road into the pits, you could be finding yourself having to do another lap of this circuit, Alex.
Yeah, very easily, as Svenky goes to the lead in the MX5 class. So up and away. The Iannucci, he's come through as well, he takes the lead. Where is Mikey Grems?
Just pulled into his pit box now, I believe.
Yeah, he had quite a gap, didn't he, over Vigus, so a lot of drivers coming in now, just a little bit before the halfway mark.
Indeed, yeah, Jakes, Shiflett, Jacobs, Bateman, Burgett, and also Michael Monaghan all pitting on this lap. 21.4 second stop for Mikey Grems, so a bit slower than Clint Vigus. I'll see where they emerge from the pits. In fact, so Vigus has got what looks like a Raymond Bader Jr. just in front of him. He's going to get by there as they go into the first corner. Vigus past Bader Jr. He's yet to make his pit stop. Up into 12th place overall. Of course, loads of drivers in front still to yet make their pit stops. But for the time being anyway, it is, oh dear, it's John Allen. Is that John Allen? Yeah, it is John Allen going wide on the exit of turn 2. Please don't collect anybody. Vigus is able to see him in time.
Yeah, recovers, he'll be okay. Clint really didn't have the best outlap there, did he? Caught a lot of traffic, really hurt him. I feel like, you know, he could have maybe had another second or two to gain there. And as it is, he's only 3.9 seconds behind Grems, so he definitely caught up somewhat. Yeah, this makes it interesting. Definitely a race on our hands, because he was constantly closing Grems by about 3 or 4 tenths of a second just before they pitted. So I feel that sort of pace is gonna be fairly similar. Just see how the guys can navigate the traffic.
Travis Schwenke into the pits, so that the leader in the MX5 is coming in. Roll of the dice by him, Tom Rathje and Richard Losper. Everyone else staying out. Maybe a short stint there as Pasquale Iannucci also comes in the Ford Mustangs. No one else taking the opportunity to pit on this lap. Leon Wright and Matthew Catila, though, have just come into the pits. Two Great Plains driver and Ohio driver. The Canadian Scott Brooks coming in. Michael Ruddock also in as well.
I think he loses the lead in the pits with a 25.7 second pit stop, compared to Tom, who batted it out in 20.9. So 5 seconds gain there. Let's hope he's got enough fuel on board. We've seen that a couple of times this season, as they're very close with I think it's Kip Stevens going into turn 1, exiting the pits there, coming together, but actually they just managed to get close, get me a little bit concerned, but that's it.
Kip Stevens, has not yet made his pit stop. He's in 4th in the Mazda MX-5s, but it looks like Rathje's trying to get the overtake. That is very brave, and that is very well executed through the middle of both MX-5s, and that shaves off a whole load of time, Alex.
Yeah, worth doing. That's for sure.
Yeah, good move.
Just trying to have a look, see where Iannucci had a 21.1 second stop as well. He was in and away. He did actually lose a little bit of time on Grems as well. So Grems' in-lap and out-lap actually very, very good, even though he stopped perhaps not as quick as we've seen. So still actually managed to maintain his lead gap. So all important. Scott Kennedy just 2 tenths of a second behind Brandon Whitworth, and surely he's going to get a little bit of slipstream down the straight now. Well, maybe we have a little look. Will he pull out? I'm not sure he's going to. He's thinking about it. Here he comes. Does indeed just poke his nose out into turn 1. Carries the momentum. The Apex car is through.
Scott Kennedy, who's got a bit of damage, has to be said, on both the front and the rear of his Ford Mustang. Now our attention turns to Vigus. Has he managed to leapfrog Russell Ruddock? He has. 23.3 second stop for the Texan Russell Ruddock, and Clint Vigus, the man from Michigan, leapfrogs him. The undercut working well there, and Ruddock losing another position to David Jakes. So Ruddock down to 8th position now after that pit stop. Of course, 3 drivers in front of all these guys are yet to pit: Thomas, Kennedy, and Whitworth. So effectively, as who was that going wide? Car 69. That was Michael Monaghan almost colliding with Clint Vigus. Was that what we were looking at, Alex?
Yeah, exactly. So Clint just had to get out of that, lost a little bit of momentum there, but yeah, like you say, he got past Ruddock. I think that was his primary goal, wasn't it, with coming in that earlier, just to try and jump that. So I would say he's sitting like net 3rd place right now, so be happy with that. We'll see what the interval is between him and Iannucci this next time by.
Well, the top 3 in the MX-5s are all in, as well as our Mustang leader, Stephen Thomas. So this could be interesting here. All teammates as well, the top 3, Holmes, Hartley and Beard. So we'll see who comes out the top in that team as they come into their relative pit stop boxes now. And the same for Stephen Thomas, who pits from the lead in the Mustangs, and the same for Scott Kennedy and Whitworth. So this should all mean that Mikey Grems will cycle back through to the race lead.
Yeah, and you've got Tom and Travis as well, haven't you? They should be there or thereabouts as well. Let's see where they're going to be. So
Benke's only going through the penultimate corner now, actually. So interesting there. I think the 3 Foxfoot drivers are going to absolutely be miles ahead of these guys.
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
time
they're all
out.
excellent pitch. You can see them coming out now in the distance. So they've absolutely nailed it. 18 seconds stop. Brian Holmes was probably the slowest of them all with a 20.1, so he's lost a little bit of ground on his teammates, but still yeah, fair jump on the likes of Svenke and Tom there. So
all the Mustangs have now pitted.
why did Travis have a 25 second stop? No one else has been near that really. They've all been low 20s or in the teens, so yeah,
Well,
very slow.
Well, it's definitely not long enough for it to be a penalty of sorts for speeding on entry, so it must have either been a missing the pit box job, or putting too much fuel in, or something like that. But yeah, Travis Svenke now finds himself in 5th position, some 7 seconds now off that lead trio of Hartley, Beard and Holmes. I don't know, we're running through the top 10 of the Mustangs now that the pit stops have completely cycled through for them. Mikey Grems leads Pasquale Iannucci by 4.6 seconds, 2 New Yorkers at the front, and Michigan's Clint Vigus in 3rd position, 9 positions gained for him. Very good race from Vigus. David Jakes in 4th, then it's the 2 Texans, Ruddock and Thomas 5th and 6th, Lauren Bateman 7th, Jeff Jacobs 8th, 9th Brandon Whitworth up 4 positions, and rounding out the top 10 is Tyler Schiffler. And while we're here, the top 5 in the MX-5s, Rob Hartley, Beard, Brian Holmes, Tom Rathjape and Travis Svenke, they've all made their pit stops. The top 5 in that class now separated by 7 seconds compared to at the start of the race when the top 8 were separated by just 3 seconds as Rathjape and Svenke go wheel to wheel for the exit of the final corner.
Well, we said, didn't we, though, that it was quite likely that the pit stops would determine much of this race. Has indeed really split apart the MX-5s.
See there, that's Jeff Jacobs lapping those 2 there as they go through the first corner, both all running out wide as they try to carry as much speed as they can through the first corner. And Jeff Jacobs now in 8th position, as we saw there at 1 position since the start of the race. Pretty close between Russell Ruddock and Stephen Thomas in the Mustangs. These 2 side by side, in fact, as we go into the Honda hairpin. And that is Ruddock having to defend from the green and black car of Stephen Thomas. Both big losers during this race. 3 positions lost for Russell Ruddock, and Stephen Thomas also has lost a position since the start of the race. This is a battle for a spot inside the top 5.
Yeah, they might have lost some spots, but if they can pull a top 5 out of this race with just 23 and a bit minutes to go, they're close to 24. They will, I think they'll consider that a bit of a success. That's for sure.
Russell Ruddock in about 13th position in the championship standings. Definitely hasn't had the start of the season he will have wanted. And Stephen Thomas currently lies in 7th position. So a good result for these guys could propel them into either the top 5 or the top 10 in the championship standings leaving here. And we continue our tour of Australia. I can tell you we've definitely got this round of the schedule right because they're standing in front of me. 5th of June we go to Bathurst for a 90-minute endurance race, Alex. That's definitely going to be one to watch at 2 AM next week.
Yeah, that'd be a good one indeed. If it's a long one, we're getting a little power nap before that one, I feel.
Yeah, 90-minute race around the Mount Panorama circuit. Did say last week we were at Suzuka. I must have got confused with the Vodafone logo and the Japanese flag. Apparently this is the Vodafone 60 here today. 60 kilometres, I think that's what... Oh no, 60 minutes, that's what it means, isn't it? Yeah, Vodafone 60 here at the Phillip Island circuit in Australia. 2.7 miles. We're getting a good race at the moment between these two, Stephen Thomas and Russell Ruddock. Looks like these two aren't going to let each other out of their sight for the rest of the race. And David Jakes isn't too far ahead of these guys either. Last time around, they were both quicker than the New Yorker Jakes.
Only 0.8 of a second, and yeah, you can visually see that gap coming down right now. So yeah, David just being drawn back in. Another good battle out there as well, three-way battle, and that's between Brandon Whitworth, Tyler Shiflett and Scott Kennedy right now as well. They're also working their way through some of the MX-5 traffic, and it's sort of bunching them back up towards each other.
What's it like racing in traffic, Alex? I know you've not had too much experience in that, but in the Blancpain GT series, you've got cars of similar classes. That must be pretty difficult to get by the slower cars in that racing.
It is. It's a lot of fun, pack racing, and I have done a fair bit of sort of like the Proto GT back in the day as well. So running the HPD as who was that miles off the circuit? Was that Kennedy?
Oh, yeah.
It was Kennedy. He's rejoined. He lost a lot of well, he didn't lose too much momentum. He looked like he kept his foot in it, but he certainly lost some time. But yeah, no, I think but the important thing with the multi-class racing. So you've got to enjoy it for what it is, and you've just got to be a little bit patient at times. That's what's going to get you actually a little bit more time through the traffic without getting any damage. As we're on board with David Jakes, and he is having a little look.
He's been passed, hasn't he? Stephen Thomas has got through. No, sorry, Russell Ruddock has got through.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? So Ruddock, yeah, having a little look. Sorry, the other way around.
Ruddock into 4th now. Getting some positions back after starting on the front row of the grid. David Jakes now down to 5th position, and now Stephen Thomas queuing up to get by. Must be a pretty helpless feeling for David Jakes at the moment with these guys getting through, and a feeling of pure elation for Russell Ruddock closing in on David Jakes and then getting the overtake done. Next Mustang in front of them is Michael Monaghan. He's not a car ahead in terms of position, but they're going to have to negotiate that Ford Mustang over the next lap or two.
Yeah, well, hopefully as a back marker, he'll just see the guys come in and won't want to get involved in that 3-car battle, so we'll let them all go down the straight. We'll find out just a second. He does that.
Yeah, there you go. The driver will have got a blue flag with a yellow stripe, basically a blue flag in European racing. I don't think you get a penalty on iRacing if you don't get out of the way.
No, it is advisory, remember. Those that are watching and thinking, oh yeah, there's battles going in through turn 1. But yeah, in iRacing, it's just advisory. It's just, you know, as long as you maintain your line and you don't do anything too rash, you don't actually have to concede the position. So it can be a bit frustrating for the faster drivers when the drivers do decide to drive like that. And you're forced to actually make the physical overtake, but yeah, it's quite rare. Most drivers just see the blue flag and let their faster competitors through.
Well, Sebastian Vettel wouldn't be too fond of that. He'll be singing blue flag for quite a while as off goes Michael Monaghan after getting lapped. That will just put pay to his race a little bit more as we're inside the final 20 minutes here of round 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, brought to you in part by TD's Tree Service. And don't forget to head over to ricmotech.com for the latest equipment here. As, once again, Stephen Thomas really lining up David Jakes, who's really sliding the car going into Lukey Heights there. And Russell Ruddock, just starting to edge away a little bit, but he then gets a terrible run through MG. So he's definitely not escaping from David Jakes just yet, who seems to be doing okay after getting overtaken by Ruddock on the last lap.
Yeah, Ruddock just a little bit deep into MG, wasn't he? Really compromised his line. He needed a good couple of laps, really, just to nail every apex to try and break this draft and see if he can pull away and leave David and Stephen just to have their own little battle. But as it is, he's right in the thick of it now, so they head down towards turn 1.
Roman Bader Jr. out of the race. Didn't have a crash, just spun off and didn't hit anything, but then exited the session. Might be a Monday night rage quit there by Bader Jr., but the man from California racing on the west coast. Looks like he's hung up his helmet for round 3. We hope we'll see him at Bathurst. Shame for him.
Yeah, it does seem like it, but you can understand, can't you, sometimes when you're at the back and you've got nobody to race or anything like that. It can just be frustrating, so I can see why that's happened.
Kevin
Very
Ford
close
versus
in the
Katina.
MX-5, sorry.
Oh yeah, that's in the MX-5s, yeah.
And that's with for second and third place in class.
Looks like Ash Beard's picked up a bit of front end damage to his Mazda MX-5 since we last checked in on these two. Don't rule out Travis Fenke, who's done a fantastic job of getting back to these guys. Car 16 was as many as about 7 or 8 seconds behind these two teammates after the first round of pit stops. But yeah, Travis Fenke, the man from Ohio.
Quite a way behind Hartley, isn't he? Hartley was the one who really nailed the stops and was leading on the way in too.
Into Lukey Heights then.
Oh, sorry, Adam.
Oh, we lost you then again for a second, Alex, there as we go over the top of the hill. Into the MG hairpin again. And I wonder if the battle between Holmes and Beard might have resulted in them losing that much time to their teammate Rob Hartley, who has really scampered off. They're just going through the final corner now, and Schwenke really fancying the opportunity of getting back past and into the podium positions here in the Mazda MX-5s.
Yeah, looking very strong indeed. But the Mustang not going to help him too much. Could pull out straight behind it and try and get the slipstream off of that. Decides not to. And I don't think he's going to make a move this time.
Pretty deformed back end of that Mustang there, Scott Kennedy. Enjoying some of the new iRacing aesthetics here that we've got. Heat hazes and field of vision, I think it's called, that we've got recently.
I have to say I always turn the heat haze off. I haven't seen it from the last build, but I know certainly when I turned it on, was it during the Pro Series that we did? Yeah, we took some grief for having it on, so yeah, I haven't had it on since then. Hopefully it's calmed down just a little bit compared to what it was.
I've got the depth of field on, which looks pretty good anyway. Yeah, me and Andrew Woodhouse are having a little play around with with those effects the last few days, but yeah, iRacing.com of course, and that is what you're watching the Ricmotech Sports Car Series on. And yeah, just go to iRacing.com and you can sign up, and you get the MX-5 for free, of course, and you could be racing in this championship next week possibly. Also, we've got everything really, from these sort of cars to full-on endurance cars to GT3s, touring cars as well. The Kia Optima, very popular in the BSRTC, and then you've got, of course, the McLaren, which we have in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, which is currently taking place at the moment. The matter at the moment is the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, and we've got just under 15 minutes to go, less than a quarter of an hour to decide who's going to take victory in the Mustang and the MX-5s and who's going to be on the podium. And that's the scrap we're watching at the moment as Travis Fenke gets a good run on the exit of the final corner, and if he can just pull slightly ahead, the line will be in his favour for that first corner, and there won't be nothing much that Ash Beard can do about it. And there you go, Travis Fenke round the outside and through into third position, and stops the monopoly of the Foxfoot racing cars, Alex, and taking an all 1-2-3 podium here.
Yeah, he needs to get on to Brian Holmes, doesn't he, really quickly now, and it's important for him to get by his teammate so that he'd have a go. So yeah, Beard disposed of. already pulling away and tucked up in the slipstream already of Holmes. Maybe a move into the hairpin doesn't do it. He's got a Mustang on the inside that he's just a little bit curious about, so let's just stay on the racing line.
Yeah, if I saw that in the mirrors, I don't think I would have tried the overtake there. They're coming up to lap another Mazda MX-5. That's Dave Fitzgerald as they go through Siberia. Kevin Ford, the Mustang, incidentally, trying to get by. There he goes. He goes through after that spin. Whereabouts is he up to now, Kevin Ford? He's up to 12th, so after being last in class, he's now back up to 12th position, only 5 positions off where he started, so that's still a solid fight back through the field after that off earlier.
Yeah, reasonable recovery. Looking at lap times as well, I think he still has an opportunity maybe to get another spot as well, so might be able to get himself up into 11th. I can't see any more than that right now.
Yeah, he's 4 seconds off Scott Kennedy, the next car in front of him, Kevin Ford, but then it's 16 seconds to Tyler Schiffler, so he'll be hoping for some late race drama, maybe a car running out of fuel. That might help him get a spot inside the top 10. But here comes Travis Schwenke then off the final corner. Can he get that second position in class here? Looking at the personal best lap times, him and Rob Hartley only a few hundredths of a second apart, and on the track Schwenke and Holmes only a few hundredths of a second apart, but it is Schwenke through into second position in the MX-5s here with 12 minutes to go on lap 27 for the Mazda MX-5s, and Schwenke, he's only 6 seconds off Rob Hartley, but I don't think he's lapping quick enough to get to him. Lapping, well, that being said, he was just over 7/10 of a second quicker on that last lap, Alex, so if he continues at that rate, he might just be with a chance of getting to him by the end of the race.
Yeah, you never know, do you? That's the thing. Just a little bit of traffic here and there can really upset it as well. So, yeah, can change. Just going to check in on the leader because, unfortunately, he's been leading by quite a way for a good part of this race that we haven't really had time to talk about Mikey Grimes.
Mikey Grimes, who is leading the championship going into this race meeting in the GS Pro. Took second place at Sebring last week. I don't think he managed to lead a lap actually on that occasion. Didn't pick up any bonus points anyway, but yeah, he's leading the way in terms of the points. 7 points ahead of Pat Iannucci, who is running second here today, so a few more points will be gained if they stay in their relative positions. Pinbikers are starting to show at the moment in third place, up 9 positions. Graham's just going through Stoner Bend now and into the Honda hairpin, looking very much in check here, and is having a fantastic start to the season. Well, hopefully he'll be able to carry on for him over the next few weeks as we go to the likes of Bathurst, the Glen, we go to Sonoma Raceway, Imola, Road America, Oran Park. Now, I've only ever commentated on one race round there. That's going to be great to see that here on the schedule. Suzuka, we go to Mid-Ohio, and the end of the season at Road Atlanta. So plenty of more challenging circuits after this one for Michael Grimes to negotiate as he tries to push for that Ricmotech Sports Car Series Championship.
Just take a little look further back, see what other battles are going on out there at the moment. I'm looking at David Payton and Ty McFarlane. 3/10 of a second back from them. It's 27th, 28th overall. And McFarlane up 3 spots from his qualifying position. So just sort of holding level, that up 3 spots really comes down to a bit of retirement, but quite close to putting a move on Payton right now.
Oh, they're sliding their way through turn 2, aren't they? David Payton and Tyler McFarlane, 8th and 9th in their Mazda MX-5 class. David Payton, the Canadian. Tyler McFarlane representing the Mid-South, the Sim Racing Club there. Going through Stoner Bend now, picking up a decent tow here, but Tyler McFarlane doing David Payton, I should say, doing a very good job of positioning the car where it needs to be so that McFarlane cannot get up the inside. Payton runs out a little bit wide there as they go on their way into Siberia. This left-hander, where on the other side of that barrier is pretty much the sea. And now on the exit they go, and you can see a tighter line on the exit there by McFarlane, but not enough to get him alongside, but he will have that front straight coming up soon.
You have to feel like this point, just 2/10 of a second, you can nail this next couple of corners. You'll have the opportunity to get that run done. As they come through, all important to get this line right here, and actually looks like a slight little mistake from Payton, just running a little bit wide. And the exit, that'll tighten up his the exit of this section as well. Carry slightly less speed. Well, just 0.2 of a second off. Definitely going to be his best run, I would think.
We go then. Picking up the toe, waiting for the last possible moment to jump out. Still not doing it yet. Almost bump drafting with 64 car there of Peyton as we go over the timing line and lifted out there.
He lifted out there as well. I could see it on the live timing that the pace of the car just dropped and then picked back up again. So yeah, a little lift there for McFarlane.
Nearly goes off, in fact, as well into the first corner. As he lost a bit of time there. Usually something we see in the BSRTC at the very slipstream heavy tracks in the MX-5s where the drivers wait till later in the race. Don't know if that's a strategy being used by Tyler McFarlane, but doesn't look like he wants to take the lead just yet. Now he does. Up the inside into the Honda hairpin. And it is as easy as that. He's through into 27th position. That is 8th in class.
Waiting for the best opportunity. Didn't want us to seem like we know what we're talking about.
No. Good move anyway. And yeah, into 8th position in class now for Tyler McFarlane. David Peyton down to 9th. 7 minutes to go here around Phillip Island in Australia. 4.4 kilometre circuit. We haven't talked about the conditions really here today. 12 to 22 degrees ambient temperature, 27 degrees track temperature. Definitely not the highest, not the lowest either really. We were at Imola earlier. We were on Sunday night. We were commentating on conditions of 43 degrees Celsius, some of the hottest conditions you'll ever see on iRacing. So yeah, shows the polarization in terms of conditions that we have on the iRacing service.
Indeed it does. Where are we now? So the top 3 in the MX-5, so Hartley only 3.5 seconds clear. Last time was closed up by 0.4 of a second by Svenke. So this race isn't over and done with in the MX-5s yet. Brian Hums is still close to him with 0.3 of a second back. So those two coming back at the leader. Other battles is the McFarlane and Peyton, as we have seen. They're continuing to battle off. But actually, it's just really Kevin Ford and Scott Kennedy in the Mustangs that are close together. Everybody else is actually starting to build up a little buffer.
Yeah, it looked pretty close for a while between Jakes and Bateman. However, that has subsided somewhat. Jakes and Thomas, I should say. But yeah, that gap's gone wide a little bit. But yeah, Kevin Ford, very sideways. This position could be a possibility, and it's almost about to turn into a reality here as we go through the final corner.
Yeah, we got it reasonable, right? We said that it could be an option, but he's done it with at least 5.5 minutes to spare. So
maybe Scott Kennedy nursing a bit of damage. Well, it definitely looks like it. The rear end looking somewhat mangled there on that Ford Mustang. Kevin Ford now through into 11th position. Just how far is Tyler Schifflin? 10th. 7 seconds. The race is closed in on Scott Kennedy. Cannot rule it out with 5 minutes to go. I mean, probably a bit of a pipe dream there for Kevin Ford, but still 11th position. Very good job there by Kevin Ford. Just about to close up to a Mazda MX-5
more
there.
of that mistake that he made earlier on in the race, you know.
Could have been up there with Clint Vargas. Yeah. 40. How far is Kevin Ford off the lead? 54 seconds. So shows you how detrimental that spin was to him. It wasn't just the spin; it was the fact that he had to wait for so many cars to get by. And yeah, now in 11th position, just 1 position outside the top 10. I think you'll call that damage limitation really for the man who currently sits.
Oh, a mistake for David Jakes there. So that's allowed Stephen Thomas to get very, very close.
Yeah, right into the back of him now again. Coming into the first corner, Jakes had been able to swap the green and black car off him. But it looks like it's flown back to possibly sting him here with 4 minutes to go. Sorry for insect puns, but yeah, it is coming up to 3 o'clock in the UK. It's 3:05 actually in the UK. But yeah, David Jakes in 5th position with Stephen Thomas in 6th. New York versus Texas. The East meets the South here. But whose race will be heading north in terms of positions in the closing stages of the race?
And the traffic doing a good job there, getting out of the way.
That is Andre Saunders.
Yeah, Saunders not really done too much this race, has he? Had to avoid a collision earlier on, setting back a little bit. But yeah, just not quite had the pace here today.
Really just getting used to being back in the saddle here. One season away. In fact, one name you won't recognise, that you will have recognised as not being on the timing sheets here today is Giuseppe Iannucci. He will be back next season. Prior commitments have meant that he's not going to be able to run the rest of this season 8 schedule. Which is a shame, but we still have Pasquale Iannucci in the field, and yeah, he's currently doing a good job in second, but can David Jakes hold back Stephen Thomas with just a few more laps? Mikey Grimes has just crossed the line with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go. My maths say that's the penultimate lap as David Jakes goes for a bit of rally crossing now on the exit. This should give Stephen Thomas an even better opportunity to try and get the position here as they go over the timing line to start the 34th lap of the race.
Yeah, very, very close. Closest he's ever been. Traffic's going to make it even more difficult though, and Astora in the end just a little back in behind. That's unfortunate. With that traffic not been there, I think he'd been able to have pulled that off there. Yeah, where is Grimes then? So yeah, like you said, we're 2 minutes 15 to go and we're halfway around. So yeah, may just be this, well, it will be just this lap and one more, wouldn't it?
Could be just about that, as yeah, Mikey Graham's not too far away from it now. Tell you what, this two-car scrap between Jakes and Thomas is turning quickly into a free
now, and the rest of the field, so led by Svenke, is following him, but it's 3 seconds behind. The gap behind Svenke to Holmes, only 1 second, so he's able to get back by, but Holmes has been able to keep with him, so maybe try and play that defensive role for Hartley.
1 lap to go then for Mikey Grimes. Crossed the line with 1 minute 20, and it's a 100-second lap or so. So Graham's definitely on the final lap of round 3 of the season. And in terms of drives, Alex, you couldn't ask for much of a better one here.
No, not at all. And once again, Stephen Thomas couldn't find his way through going into turn 1. Had a real good look this time, but not able to get it done.
Going into Honda hairpin now.
Grimes for the rest of the lap, I feel.
Just in the background, I saw that McFarlane and Payton were having another scrap in the Master X5s. But yeah, here comes Mikey Grimes through the Siberia hairpin. Just on his way past the hay shed on the left-hand side. Now into the right-hander. And then on their way into Lukey Heights, this uphill left-hander. And then the MG hairpin, and then it's just the final part of the lap. And then he'll be able to take another victory on his way to extending his lead in the championship. The clock reaches 0 now. This is the final lap. And car 44, Mikey Grimes, the man from New York. It is 12 about 10 p.m. Eastern time in New York City, and going through the final corner. The left-hander, Mikey Grimes, comes out of the final corner now and will take victory in round 3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, brought to you in part by TD's Tree Service. And there he goes. Mikey Grimes takes the checkered flag. Race victory for Mikey Grimes. Drag race between those two MX-5s, Alex. Who's it going to be? It is at the line David Payton, and second place goes to Pasquale Iannucci.
Just checking in with the MX-5 leader as well. He's just rounding in the first of the hairpin, so it's going to be a little while before he comes across, but still a good race from him.
There's Mike Dam. There's Mike Dam, and he's just going to do it. He's just going to get past the last of the Mazda MX-5s, and after suffering a disconnect, he is going to be able to just be the last of the MX-5s, the Mustangs.
For honour that wasn't it, to not finish behind the MX-5. He had to get by.
Leon Wright versus Michael Burgett. This is a late scrap here. Burgett got a lot of damage. Look at the sparks getting kicked up there by Leon Wright through the final part of the lap. And just in front of them is Chris Torman. Might see a drag race to the line here between these two Mustangs. Thought Leon Wright was disqualified there for a brief moment. It's going to be a run to the line, but it should be Leon Wright takes his 14th position ahead of Michael Burgett.
Yeah, and here comes Hartley as well.
Rob Hartley takes the victory in the Mazda MX-5. Second for Travis Schwenke, who pushed him all the way, and Brian Holmes should come through to take third position. ahead of his teammate Ash Beard, who will take best of the rest in 4th. And then Richard Losber in 5th, and that pretty much rounds out everyone else. I think we're just waiting for Dave Fitzgerald to come over the line. I'll just check he's about to do so, and yep, there he is now. Rounds out our finishing order. So we'll run you through the finishers from this round 3 of the series. Race victory for Mikey Grams, 2nd for Pasquale Iannucci, 3rd rounding up the podium in the Mustangs, Clint Vigus, one of my drivers of the race, I think. 4th for Russell Ruddock, 5th for David Jakes, 6th Stephen Thomas, 7th for Lauren Bateman, 8th Jeff Jacobs, 9th Brandon Whitworth, and 10th for Tyler Shiflett. After that spin, it was almost a top 10 for Kevin Ford, but a good race from him nonetheless, considering he was 22nd after that initial spin earlier on in the race. 12th for Scott Kennedy, 13th for Matthew Katila, 14th for Leon Wright, 15th for Michael Burgett, then another Michael in 16th, Michael Ruddock, and then Scott Brooks in 17th, and then Michael Monaghan and Mike Dam, both the Mustangs, 1 lap down there. Rob Hartley, the winner in a Mazda MX-5, 2nd for Travis Schwenke, 3rd for Brian Holmes, 4th for Ash Beard, 5th for Richard Losber, 6th for John Allen, 7th for Tom Rathjay, 8th for David Payton, 9th Tyler McFarlane, and 10th for Andre Saunders, 11th for Kip Stevens after starting stone dead last, 12th for Chris Torman, 13th for Mike Taylor, 14th for Michael Key, 15th for Dan Carrido, 16th for Dave Fitzgerald, and then 17th for Edgar Sanchinelli. And then the only cars that were out of the race were all Mustangs. Raymond Baylor Jr. out of the race after running around in last and couldn't carry on much more after that. Rafael Motta got quarter panels on the front straight and had a hard backwards impact into the tyre wall on the front straight. He finished 21 laps down, and Travis Davis blew the engine very early into the race. He finished 39th.
My friend, so
yes,
I will let you go now. I'm going to have a quick chat with a couple of the guys, but always a pleasure. As yeah, I will. I'll catch you next week, of course.
Yes, I will. So yeah, thanks everybody, and just before I go, I'll send out my quick thoughts and prayers to the people involved in the attacks in Manchester tonight. But yeah, that's all from me, and yeah, I'll speak to you this week, Alex.
Yep, cheers, mate. Thanks again. Right, got a couple of drivers just joining us. What I really want to do is speak to Mikey and Rob, if I can get them in. But while I'm waiting, let me drag in Clint Vigus. Clint, welcome to the booth. And
thanks, sir.
Yeah, good race from you today. Qualifying, not really where you wanted it. But you pulled it together in the race, and you had a good charge through. You made some good moves, and we were sort of keeping track of your progress. And a good result in the end.
Yeah, it didn't look so hot after qualifying. I was on a really hot lap right on Mikey's bumper, and I think that I could have been on the front row, but I just got an incident coming onto the main straight, so started from the back.
And you went for quite an early stop. Was that to get by Russell?
Yeah, I thought I had to do something. I was losing a lot of time in the traffic, and my plan was always for a two-tire stop to try and gain track position. So I thought if that's what I was going to do, the earlier the better.
Okay, and that makes sense as to why you perhaps just didn't quite have the pace in the second stint as it looked as some of the other guys, because they've gone for a slightly longer stop and the extra tires, I guess.
Yeah, I was really starting to struggle with tires, and then for the last 3 laps, I was lifting and coasting because I was actually marginal on fuel. I ran out just after turn 1 on the cool down.
Right, I'm going to rattle through these interviews really quickly, if that's all right, mate. So I just want to say congratulations. Robert's there. Hi, Rob. Congratulations. Welcome to the booth. Sorry about this. I'm rattling through the interviews a little bit tonight. The team looked good out there tonight, I have to say. At one point, you had 1, 2, and 3. Travis come in and ruin the show a little bit, but he wasn't able to get to you. Great pit stop, and you built a nice little gap from there.
Yeah, Travis Schwenke was playing the spoiler there, but great run for our team, and I know there ain't really teams in this league, but we all kind of run as a team. And yeah, the first half was a great race. We was battling like crazy, and then the pit stops just split everybody up. I don't know what's going on with this fueling, but it seems like everybody gets a different amount in the tank or something. Takes longer to fill up, but it split the field up, and
I pretty much said at the start of the broadcast, I said it was going to come down to the pit stop and that sort of window, that area, because this circuit is very easy to not lose time, if that makes any sense. The grid's always very, very close here, and just the smallest thing can make a big difference to a race around here. And yeah, like you said, your pit stop was considerably quicker than your teammates' ones, and that's what got you out in front.
yep. It was a good race. Second half, I kind of broke away there, but I
So
was
you had
glad the
that's
pit stop worked out for me.
that's a couple of wins for you now, isn't it?
There's one win on the season, and that's all top threes so far. So
I was about to say, I'm sure you've been on the podium before. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, the brain does start to frazzle out a little bit, I'm afraid.
I can
But yeah,
imagine.
so looking good for this season so far. But of course, all of the usual rivals are there again.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard fought battle all the way to the end with this championship. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. Awesome stuff, mate. Just hand the mic over to you. Anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Just everyone involved with the league. It's such a great league, and really enjoy running here.
Cool. Thanks very much. Go enjoy the victory with your teammates, and yeah, we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
Cheers, Rob. Hi, Travis. Welcome to the booth.
Good evening.
Yeah. Good morning. Congratulations on P2 today. You had some work to do after the pit stop. 25.7 seconds compared to everybody else in the 20s and high teens. What happened there?
I don't know. I think I had the Iberian team or something fill in the tank because I came out with exactly what I wanted, and Tom jumped me, and I saw they were up ahead like 3-4 seconds, and it was exactly where I wanted. I ran out of fuel on the cooldown lap, so it was just a slow fill.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate because really the race was looking really, really exciting. Just as we were talking to Rob a moment ago, it looked like it could have been any one of 5 or 6 drivers, but after that pit stop, it just spread apart massively.
Yeah, it was definitely spread us all apart. And as I told them in the waiting room there, their scheme of painting their cars the same kind of helped too, because I thought it was actually Rob and Brian that were together. I didn't realize it was Ashley at first, and then I had to, when I realized that, I was like, well, I got to push now and try to get around them and see if I had anything for Rob. So
yeah, you closed the gap down quite considerably at the end, but just not quite enough. Just yeah, you needed an hour and a half race today.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good drive by Rob though. So no taking away anything from him.
Well, congratulations on the podium again. Anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, first time in here this year. It's good to have TD back in contention, not just sponsoring us, and Ricmotech and everything they do for us, and you guys putting on these broadcasts. Really appreciate it.
No problem, Travis. Thanks very much, mate. And yeah, we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Last but by no means least, we've got Brian Holmes. Brian, congratulations.
Cheers for that, buddy.
3rd place today. As I was said to Rob and your teammate earlier on, you guys looked pretty good today. All running very, very similar pace together. You came in all at once in the pits, and yeah, unfortunately, the pit stop spread you apart a little bit and made you perhaps a little bit more vulnerable to Travis. But yeah, in the draft, you guys, nothing between you. It just really, yeah, I think all 3 of you could have won today.
Group that was actually running until the Mustangs broke us up. I think there were about 8 of us running in draft. It was pretty nice at the start of the race, just running behind Rob, taking it easy. Missed a shift. Travis went by. But yeah, up until pit stops, everything was nice and cool. And I pitted short fueled on the pit stop, which basically meant that I came out behind them. I don't know how I did that with short fueling. I came out about 1.5 seconds off them. Just catching Ash up. Ash had a little bit of an incident. I think he would have got a podium if it wasn't for that, because I had to save fuel right to the end then.
Yeah, a good race though, and a good circuit. I think. Obviously, we didn't come here last season that I know of, but this venue always makes for a good race meeting. I feel.
Really nice track. Going track. It's
Just lost you for a second there. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that, Alex. I think I'm having a bit of connection issue.
No worries. Well, what I'll do, mate, because I'm going to wriggle off as well, because it's getting a bit late. So just the floor is yours. Thank your sponsors and things like that, and yeah, we'll call this show a day.
I'd just like to thank the guys that run the actual Extreme Championship. This is my first season, and to be honest with you, I've never had any racing like it. The guys are very, very clean, very, very fair. We look forward to every week. So yeah, thanks again to everybody that runs the league and you commentating.
No worries. Thanks very much, mate. All the best, and yeah, we'll catch you next week.
Yeah.
Right, guys, that just about wraps it up then. So big shout out as always to to all the series admins and to Ricmotech TD as well. This has been round number 3, season 8, the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Congratulations to Mikey Grems and Robert Hartley, who take the win in class today. We'll be back next week, myself, Adam, and Andrew in the booth. But for tonight, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you all again.
Focus, determination, passion, stamina, and the will to win. The end result, the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Extreme Motorsports brings you the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, brought to you by Ricmotech High Performance Sim Racing Equipment, and in part by TD's Tree Service. Live coverage Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern.